Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and it is time to do our quarterly unhaul of all of the books that I will be passing along to a loving and better home because for whatever reason they no longer have a place in my collection. I have so many books in my collection. I obviously can't keep all of them even if I love them, so I try every quarter to go through the books that I have and do a purge. So some of these have been sitting in this box for a minute. Some of them it's time to pass along. So I figured before I send them off to their new home, I would show you guys what I'm thinking about. So yes, let's go ahead and dive right in. So for a lot of these, there's no real particular reason other than maybe I just didn't love them. This one, for example, if you guys saw one of my book outlet hauls that came out, I don't even know when this video is going to go up, but this essentially is a collection. It's still completely wrapped of Disney's vintage old little golden book library. This is the collection that's inside. I just was looking at it, and the reason I got this and a different golden books collection is to find, I love finding kind of like a treasure hunt, old books that I used to read as a child and have in my collection again. And these just didn't hit the mark. So we'll be passing these along. Next is, I'm just gonna grab like a bunch of them. Oh. Next is a couple of Christmas books that I read this year and just didn't end up loving. So the first is this one's A Heart for Christmas by Sophie Joman, and this one is Kringle by Tony Abbott. Both of these were enjoyable, but I just didn't love them as much as I hoped that I would, so we will be passing them along to someone who hopefully loves them even more. Next, I have a graphic novel by Kay O'Neill. This is A Song for You and I. This one was really good. I do love her art style. This story for me just wasn't it, and I'm really picky with my graphic novels on the ones that I keep forever. So this one I was choosing to pass along. Along with this is A Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. I actually haven't even read this one yet, but I just don't love pocket size books. And I think when I ordered this one off Book Outlet forever ago, it just wasn't the style or the size that I thought it was going to be. So I ended up ordering actually a new version of this, and I'm hoping to get to this book or this story this year, but this version of it I am passing on. Okay, another Christmas book that I finally got to read, which is why, again, I love reading backlist, because sometimes I find my new favorite thing. Other times I finally get through a story and just get to the point where I'm like, okay, I've read it. I need to pass it on to someone else who will love it. This is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. This is the second Cynthia Hand book I've read, and I just don't know if I love her. I have one more book by her I think I'm going to try before I officially strike her from the record of an author to pick up, but this one was cute. It essentially follows a girl who gets indoctrinated into the Scrooge program. I liked it. I just don't think it's one for a Christmas book that I'm going to come back to again, so I'm going to pass this one on as well. Oh, and it had pages, the style of pages that I absolutely hate, which is like I don't even know if you guys are going to be able to see, like the torn, ripped style. I cannot stand these in a book, so I have to pass that along. Let's see what else we have in here. I just have a box down at my feet that I'm going through. Oh, this one. Okay, so there's more in here that I'll grab, but this is essentially the Warriors Power of Three series. I loved these books when I was a kid and wanted to pick up the series. This was one I just don't think I ever ended up getting to, and I have two other series on my shelves of this like style. These are all by Aaron Hunter. It essentially follows like an animal society of cats, which sounds kind of random, but I actually really enjoyed them. I read two of the series, and this was one I just didn't get to, and I was like, I don't think I need another one. So we're gonna pass this one along. Next, we have one that I really wanted to love this. This was one of the Barnes & Noble like $5 books that they have at the cafe that they honored for fall time. This is Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice by Katie Cook. This essentially was not it for me. It was really cute. It was a good time. I think I literally read it in a plane flight in one sitting, and it was cute. It wasn't my favorite. I was hoping it would be a little bit more aged up. I don't think I picked it up realizing it was YA, but overall it was cute. I just think it's time for it to find a new home. More Christmas books. This is The Christmas Tree Farm. This is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe series. This is the third one, I believe, by Laurie Gilmore. I actually really loved this series. I just want to pick up the full collection and not have duplicates. So I'm partying with this one so that way I can go out and just buy the full collection, of which will include this story. So then I won't have two of them sitting on my shelves. But this is a really cute story that I actually really liked. So 10 out of 10 would recommend if you haven't tried this series yet for a little cute, cozy romance. Another Christmas story that I actually really enjoyed, but I'm going to pass along. This is The Santa Suit by Mary Kay Andrews. This essentially is about a woman who starts her life over in a small town and ends up meeting a cute cast of characters through an old Santa suit that she finds in her house. So I thought this one was actually really cute. Again, for Christmas stories for me though, it takes a lot for me to go back to a story, and this one just didn't do it enough for me that I'm going to hold on to it. So we're going to pass this one along. Same thing with The Christmas Tree That Loved to Dance by Miranda Hart. I thought this was going to be a little bit different of a story than it ended up being, but this one's cute. It's essentially about a woman who's determined to save all of the Christmas trees once they get thrown out after the holidays. It was cute. I liked it. Just again, not enough to want to come back to it. So I'm going to pass that along. And then I also realized that I have 2 copies of How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss, so I don't need 2 of them. I can pass them along to a new home. Let's rapid fire through the rest of these. This is a children's book my friend picked up for me when she was going on a road trip up to Canada. It's Animals of the Salish Sea, written by a few different authors. This one, it was cute. I just don't think that I will ever end up reading it or enjoying it, so I wanted to pass it along to someone who will love it. Then I had a couple duplicates of old Babysitters Club books. Again, in my hunt to find series that I used to read as a kid, sometimes I forget that I have them, and so I get duplicates. So this one is Claudia and the Phantom Phone Calls and Dawn and the Impossible 3. I have a goal in life at some point to find all of the children's books that I read as a kid, but sometimes, like I said, I buy more than one, not realizing I already have it on my shelves. Same, which was the case with this one, which was one of my favorite book series as a little kid. This is the Babysitter's Little Sister series. This is Karen's Birthday, again by Anne M. Martin. Continuation of that Warriors series. This is just another one of the books in the series. Same with this one. This one I'm sad to pass along because I did enjoy this series, but I just don't think that I will ever go back to it. I really loved it though from a good middle grade series. This is The Wild Robot Escapes. This is the second book in the Wild Robot series by Peter Brown. This one was cute. I think the first one for me will always be the standout best. 1 and 3 were a little bit stronger of a story. This one just didn't do it for me, so I will be passing this one along. For a couple of stories that I read, I think I read these end of last year. This is The Summer War by Naomi Novak and Wayward by Amelia Hart. This was a book I read for my group book club. I enjoyed it, wasn't my favorite, so I'm gonna pass this one along. And this one, unfortunately, just didn't do it for me. This essentially was a short story, I think set in a different series of hers, so I think I need to read that series before I could fully appreciate this one. But yeah, it's a beautiful book, sprayed edges, and I'm sad it didn't work out for me. Next, I have a book that I've had on my shelves for forever. This is Scott Westerfeld's Imposters. This is a continuation in the Uglies series. I got a hardcover of this one finally to match the rest of my hardcover series, so I passed along the paperback. Okay. For a couple other books that I picked up, I actually picked up this for a friend, but she already owned it, so I'm going to pass this one along. This one I read last year. This is by Thousand Splendid Suns, the author of The Kite Runner. This is a really hard book to read. I've read 2 of his books by this point. I really enjoyed them, but they're just heavy books, and I just don't see myself going back to ever reread them, which is typically my gesture of how I know I'm going to keep a book on my shelves. So yeah, I'm gonna pass this one along. Super amazing story, but just not for me. Same with T. Kingfishers. This is Thorn Hedge. This is essentially kind of a Beauty and the Beast, not Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty retelling. I really like the story of this. I think T. Kingfishers are really good, like spin the fairy tale on their head type of stories, which I always love. This one just didn't completely do it for me, but still good nonetheless. Then let's talk about these 2 books. Y'all know I've been getting into my Asian translated works, but I will say these were two of the weirdest books I think I've ever read in my entire life. Hunger by Choi Jin Young. This essentially follows a really terrible couple and just their need to always be connected with each other, and then the man dies and the woman eats him. Like, it's not even a spoiler, like it's in the synopsis. This was just a very strange book. To be honest, I read this on a flight and was like totally thrown off by the whole concept of it. Same with this. This essentially is Vanishing World by Sayaka Murata. This essentially is the author of The Convenience Store Woman, which I actually really enjoyed. But this essentially is about a new world in which people don't have sex. They reproduce via IVF. And it was just a really interesting concept. I really did not see the ending coming. I hated everything about this book. It was such a weird book. So yeah, bear that in mind if you ever pick this one up. It's a strange one. Okay, a couple children's books that I'm going to be passing on. This is The Invisible Parade by Leigh Bardugo. This essentially follows Day of the Dead. This is a girl who I think is mourning the loss of her grandfather and ends up just running into a cast of characters. The art on this is stunning. I loved the art of this. I thought it was so beautiful. I just wasn't the biggest fan of it like I thought I was going to be. And then I also have the Tokyo Night Parade, which was also, again, gorgeous, stunning art, just not the target audience for this. Obviously, it's a children's book, but certain books I can look past. I just think another family or another child would appreciate this more, and so I wanted to pass it along. And the last book that I'll talk about with you guys is also by Leigh Bardugo. This is The Familiar. This was her new adult novel that came out last year, and I read the beginning of the year. I actually really enjoyed this. However, Leigh Bardugo's books for me are a bit hit and miss. Like, I love the Six of Crows duology, but I really didn't like her, what's the other series? Shadow and Bone trilogy. So her books are a little random for me. This one essentially follows a woman who has magical powers growing up in the capital of Madrid. She's a servant, and essentially her woman that she works for demands that she uses these gifts to help elevate the family's social position. It lost me a bit in the middle. I enjoyed it, but it's not a book that I think, again, I'd ever come back to fully. But yeah, if it's something you guys would think you'd enjoy, definitely would recommend to check it out because it was really well written. I just didn't love it as much as I thought that I would. All right, friends, so that is everything that I am unhauling. I hope these books will find a new home. But if there is any questions you guys have about what I end up doing with my books, how I kind of decide what books stay and which ones go, I hope this gives you guys a better understanding of what ends up staying here on my shelves. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, give it a thumbs up if you did like it, subscribe to see more of my face, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!